Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Through Africa. I am your host, Mercy Bamgbala, and today we bring you the most important stories from around the world. South Africa is currently facing unrest over migration as political leaders, civil society groups, and communities debate how the country should respond to undocumented immigration. In a recent national address from the Union buildings in Tshwane, President Cyril Ramaphosa acknowledged growing public concern over illegal migration. He said many South Africans are worried about unemployment, pressure on public services, and safety. However, he also stressed that these concerns must not lead to violence or the targeting of foreign nationals. The president warned that only government authorities have the legal right to enforce immigration laws, while urging citizens to avoid taking the law into their own hands, and called for calm as tensions rise across the country. Migration disputes have escalated into fear and displacement in some areas. Reports indicate that migrants from countries such as Mozambique, Malawi, Ghana, and others have been affected, with some leaving in their homes or seeking shelter. At the same time, President Ramaphosa has urged that illegal immigration is not the root cause of South Africa's economic challenges. He pointed instead to deeper structural issues such as unemployment and inequality, while also admitting weaknesses in border management. International observers warn that blaming migrants for social and economic problems risks increasing division and violence rather than solving the underlying issues facing the country. South Africa remains one of the continent's key destinations for migrants, with millions of foreign nationals living in the country, both legally and without documentation. An Ebola outbreak in Central Africa is now being described by health experts as one of the most serious in the recent years, with more than 1,000 confirmed cases reported in the Democratic Republic of Congo. France has now confirmed its first case after a doctor returned from a humanitarian mission in the DR Congo. The doctor is receiving treatment in a specialized medical facility and is reported to be in stable condition. The World Health Organization says the risk to the general public remains low in France, while contact tracing efforts continue. This outbreak is different from previous Ebola events in both speed and scale. The number of infections has risen rapidly in a short period of time, suggesting that the virus spread for some time before it was officially detected. This delay in detection is a key reason the outbreak is now so widespread. By the time it was clearly identified, transmission had already reached multiple communities. The outbreak is being driven by the Bundibugyo strain of the Ebola virus. This strain is less common, and there is currently no fully approved treatments or vaccines specially designed for it. Many of the current challenges are not only medical, but also logistical. The outbreak is taking place in areas affected by conflict and limited infrastructure. Another major concern is the speed of transmission. Reports indicate that the number of cases doubled in a very short time, which suggests ongoing undetected spread in the early stages of the outbreak. Health workers on the ground are using traditional Ebola control methods, including isolation of patients, safe burial practices, and contact tracing. These methods were also central to controlling previous outbreaks, including the large West Africa epidemic between 2014 and 2016. Now, Turkey will host one of the most important diplomatic and security meetings in the world, the NATO Summit. The summit will take place in Ankara on the 7th and 8th of July 2026. Leaders from 32 countries, including United States Donald Trump, are expected to gather to discuss key issues facing the alliance and to provide strategic direction for its future activities. A NATO summit is a meeting of the heads of states and governments of NATO member countries. It is the highest level meeting within the alliance. These meetings are not held on a fixed schedule. Instead, They take place when important decisions need to be made or when the alliance is facing significant challenges and opportunities. Throughout its history, these summits have been used to introduce new policies, launch major initiatives, strengthen partnerships, and at times welcome new members into the alliance. The summit is effectively a meeting of the North Atlantic Council, NATO's principal political decision-making body at its highest level. The meeting is chaired by the Secretary General. According to the alliance, agendas usually focus on issues of major political and strategic importance. Discussions may cover the alliance's internal priorities as well as its relation with partner countries and organizations. Many summits meetings have marked important turning points in the alliance's history. For example, after the end of the Cold War, leaders met in London in 1990 to discuss new relations with countries in Central and Eastern Europe. A year later, leaders meeting in Rome adopted a strategic concept reflecting the changing security environment. The last NATO summit was held in The Hague, the Netherlands in June 2025, and the upcoming Ankara summit will be the next opportunity for allied leaders to meet and discuss the future direction of the alliance. As the host nation, Turkey will welcome leaders and delegations from across the NATO alliance for 2 days of high-level discussions on issues affecting the organization and the member states. The Association of Spouses of Heads of African Missions hosted its special Africa Day celebration in Ankara under the leadership of President Nawal Bushekif Lazarek. AFROTURK TV was on the ground to give you a report. Africa's rich cultural heritage, unity, and growing global influence are being celebrated here today in Ankara as the Association of Spouses of Heads of African Missions hosted special Africa Day celebration, now held under the leadership of President Nawal Lazarek and the members of the association. This event brings together diplomats, distinguished guests, and the members of the African community to honor the continent's diversity, achievements, and shared aspirations. Although Africa Day is traditionally observed on May 25th, this commemorative gathering serves as an opportunity to further strengthen friendship, cultural exchange, and cooperation between Africa and Türkiye.
إن إفريقيا مهد البشرية قد أسهمت عبر قرون عديدة في إثراء التراث الإنساني العالمي في خلال معارفها وتقاليدها وقيمها. واليوم وبفضل ديناميتها وطاقتها البشرية والثقافية والاقتصادية تواصل إفريقيا تعزيز حضورها المتزايد على الساحة الدولية. وفي قلب هذا التاريخ تقف المرأة الإفريقية التي تؤدي دورا أساسيا في بناء المجتمعات الإفريقية، فعبر التاريخ كانت ملكة ومحاربة ومقاومة ومربية وفنانة وعالمة ومناضلة وقائدة، وقد شاركت بفعاليات في الحياة السياسية والاقتصادية والاجتماعية والثقافية للقارة. لقد تركت شجاعتها وصمودها والتزامها بصمة واضحة في محطات التاريخ الإفريقي الكبرى. وتأتي هذه المبادرة أيضاً في سياق التقارب المتزايد بين إفريقيا وجمهورية تركيا. وفي هذا الإطار لا بد من الإشادة بالاهتمام الخاص الذي يوليه فخامة الرئيس رجب طيب أردوان للقارة الإفريقية، فبفضل تعزيز علاقات التعاون والعديد من المبادرات الإنسانية والتعليمية والثقافية والتنموية، رسخت تركيا عبر سنوات روابط الصداقة والشراكة مع العديد من الدول الإفريقية. ويعكس هذا الالتزام رؤية مشتركة قائمة على الحوار والتضامن والاحترام المتبادل والمصالح المشتركة، كما يؤكد أهمية التبادل الإنساني والثقافي كوسيلة للتقارب بين الشعوب. كما نود الإشادة بالدور البارز للسيدة الأولى في تركيا السيدة إمينة أردوغان، التي تحظى مبادرتها الإنسانية والاجتماعية والثقافية والبيئية بتقدير واسع، وقد ترجم اهتمامها المستمر بإفريقيا إلى العديد من المشاريع التي تهدف إلى تعزيز الروابط بين شعوبنا، مثل إنشاء بيت الثقافة الإفريقية. السيدات والسادة، نتمنى أن يكون هذا اليوم مصدر إلهام وإثراء وحوار، وأن يتيح لنا التعرف أكثر على هؤلاء النساء الاستثنائيات اللواتي تعكس مساراتهن تراث التاريخ الإفريقي وإسهام المرأة الذي لا يقدر بثمن في تقدم الإنسانية.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode of Through Africa. To send us questions or suggestions on the show as you have watched today, kindly do so on all our social media handles as AFROTURK TV. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.